Dr. Chancellor Jain ma'am, and dear participants. A warm welcome to all of you with a special welcome to our esteemed Master Trainer and Expert Trainer, Dr. Chancellor ma'am, and Assistant Professor at Prestige Institute of Management and Research in Indore, to the FDP training program on a systematic way of research paper writing. This collaborative initiative is organized by the Synergy Research Foundation of India and RFI-CARE in association with Pari University, Gujarat. It is generously supported by Shod Malwa, Eklavya University, JHRF, Academic Research Guide Association, and Edu Academic Team. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Chancellor ma'am. She is an accomplished author, research expert, and academician with over 11 years of experience in management and commerce. She is the co-founder of Urja Counseling and Training Indore and also serves as the co-coordinator of IQAC at Prestige Institute of Management and Research. As a research expert and trainer, she has led numerous workshops and activities on the SPSS module, research paper writing, and analysis using R programming. She has completed a research project in the medical field presented to the Central Ministry and has chaired and co-chaired various conferences. With over a decade of extensive research experience, she has presented papers at more than 20 national and international conferences, earning 5 Best Paper Awards, one each at JIMS Delhi and Pacific University, Udaipur, and 3 at Prestige Institute, Indore. Additionally, more than 42 of her research papers have been published in reputed Scopus international and international journals. Under her guidance, many research scholars are pursuing their PhD degrees, and she has supervised over 500 students in their major and minor research projects. So that's only a glimpse of Madam's extensive expertise. Her contributions to the field are truly remarkable. Now, without any delay, I would like to request Dr. Chancellor ma'am to please begin her presentation on the topic analysis of cases for data analysis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neha ma'am. I hope I'm audible clearly.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Thank you so much, first of all, for introducing me on this platform with the participants. Thank you so much for that. So at the onset of this particular session, I firstly want to say or convey my gratitude to the entire RFI team, especially Ajay Jain sir, Saurabh Jain sir, for giving me one more time invitation to conduct this session. Thank you so much for that. Now, as today's agenda is, I need to discuss the application part of SPSS, right? So I'll start with this. So firstly, means the pedagogy for the conducting of this session will be, I'll share my screen. I'll discuss some of the conceptual aspect of the data analysis. I'll show you the interface of SPSS, and then I'll tell you what how SPSS works and what are the applications of SPSS in the field of data analysis, right? So this will be the agenda of this particular session. So without delaying and going in more formalities, I'll just share my screen. And I want to convey one thing. Once I'll share my screen, I would not be able to see anything on the Google Meet screen, right? So that way I cannot see your queries or something. If you are having any queries regarding what I am discussing, or if you want to ask me something, so I request you, please unmute and ask me, right? So this will be the mode. Now I'm sharing my screen. Fine. I think I am sharing my screen. I hope my screen is visible to everyone of you. I am presently showing you the Word document. I hope it is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And requesting everyone to be little interactive so that I think I am also able to understand you people and you will also understand what I am discussing, right? Okay. So with this, I'm starting the session. As today, we need to talk how SPSS can help us in the data analysis. So firstly, I'll talk about the term SPSS. I don't think so any one of you are not knowing what SPSS is standing for or stands for. I think everyone is knowing SPSS stands for. Anyone?
Ma'am, statistical package for social science research.
Very good. Thank you so much. Statistical package for social sciences, right? This is what SPSS is, right? So when we say SPSS is a package which is offering us statistical tools or techniques which we can apply on the data. We know, I think many of you are already belonging to the academic side or from the academic field, right? So in academics, generally we need to write a research paper, and for writing the research paper or maybe guiding to our students in their MRP or in their research work, generally we need to have the understanding about these kind of softwares, right? So that is why here, if I will say anything on the SPSS, I'll say SPSS is a combination of multiple techniques which is belonging to the statistical side, right? When I say you need to go for the data cleaning, SPSS can help you. When I say you need to transform your data, SPSS can help you. When I say you need to know the summary of your data, SPSS can help you. If you want to go in the field of inferential statistics, SPSS can help you, right? So these are the very simple terms I have used, which you can do or perform using the SPSS. As this is stands for statistical package for social science. So we know in social science there are multiple, what I can say, disciplines, right? Like psychology, political science, management. There are multiple domains or disciplines available when we talk about social science. So whether we are from any of the field, means as I am belonging to the management set, maybe some of you can be from the political science, maybe some of you can be from the any other branch of the social science, right? So in these kind of branches, generally whatever type of research we are carrying, so to analyze such kind of data, we can use the software for that purpose, right? Now, if I want to show you, means before showing you the what I can say interface of SPSS, I must need to talk about few terminology which generally we are using in the data analysis field, right? Out of or among those terminology, one is the variable. I don't think so I need to much talk about on this. Everyone is knowing about the term variable. If anyone who wish to say on variable term, if you know something, please say. You can unmute and tell me if you're knowing anything about variable term. I think everyone is knowing. Everyone is belonging to, means this is what I'm assuming. You're belonging to the academic side. Yes? Anyone? Friends, I hope I'm audible to every one of you. Anyone who can tell?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So anyone who can tell me, what do you mean by term variable? Friends, I hope I'm audible to all of you.
My name is Dr. Nishal Singh. I want to answer, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
In terms of variable, it could be age, it could be a different background, it could be their education,
Right.
gender.
Correct. Very correct. Very correct. Nisha ma'am, I think, right? Nisha ma'am was talking. Who was talking to
Yes,
me?
yes, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Nisha ma'am. Thank you so much, Nisha ma'am. Nisha ma'am has given
Yes,
some of
ma'am.
the examples. Yes, thank you so much. Nisha ma'am has given some of the examples of variable, right? But if I say I want to define it, so we can say variable is nothing but it is any entity, right? Which is not constant. It is not fixed, right? Or you can say which varies is variable. This is a very simple definition of variable. Now, as ma'am has given some of the examples, like ma'am said age, ma'am said, I think gender, any other variable you are taking the name, ma'am?
And can we add certain type of parameter which will be used for the research?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, please.
Okay. So this is Dr. Yaswansi Jadeja from Marwadi University. Actually, we are consider variable like we are from the chemistry department. So we are adding a certain type of parameter which will be used for the different type of analysis, different type of synthesis of molecules. And so can we consider this type of things as the
Definitely.
variables?
Because when you are saying molecule, so molecule is always, it means molecule, how you are based, how you are, means suppose you are saying molecule, you are saying the weight.
Yeah.
Can
Weight, Temperature.
Means I'm not knowing that much words, but
Yeah,
weight
sure.
can be, temperature can be, right? The size can be. So all these are variables from one molecule to the next molecule. If you are going, so it is varying, right? All these characteristics are varying. So generally, variable are what? These are the attributes or characteristics of the something or some object, right? Which generally varies when we are going from one object to the other object, right? Is it clear, sir? Yashpal, sir, I hope, right?
Yeah, this is Yashwant Singh Jadeja.
Yashwant, sir.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm
you
fine.
can say, right? You can say these can also be the variable type or the examples of variable, right?
Definitely. Thank you.
Right. So that way we can define the variable, right? So again, I need to emphasize here on this particular thing when we are saying variable. So the meaning is that variable is entity, but we are talking about its characteristics, its features, right? That we can measure. Entity, the whole entity we cannot measure in a single go. We need to understand which particular aspect of that particular entity we are measuring. So as sir said, we are saying molecule. Molecule is any entity, right? So we are measuring its weight. That is the characteristics of the molecule. Similarly, for seeing a person's salary, if I want to say, so we can say salary is one of the characteristics of that particular person, right? So that way we can say these are known as variables, which are generally measurable. Is it clear? May I proceed? Friends, may I go ahead?
Yes, madam.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
Yes, ma'am, please.
yeah, thank you so much. Now we are talking about types. So generally there are n number of, not n number, but almost multiple types of variables available in statistics, right? Because again, as why I'm saying is statistics, because this package is itself including this term, right? So that is why I'm saying this thing, that there are multiple types of variables available in these statistics, right? We can classify them in some of the categories. Generally, we can say the variables are qualitative variable, quantitative variables, right? Then independent. Why I'm saying independent? Because in statistics, some of the statistical tools which are clearly asking which is your independent variable, which is your dependent variable, right? Apart from that, you can say discrete, continuous, right? Endogenous. So there are multiple types: moderator variable, mediating variable. So there are multiple types, but all these variables can come under these variables, right? So starting with the first type, which is qualitative variable. So I think from name itself, it is quite clear when we say qualitative variable. So the variable which cannot be quantified, right, or which we cannot measure in terms of numbers, is known as qualitative variable. For example, here if I have some of the variables I have listed here. So in this, if I can say gender can be one of them. Gender is a variable or characteristics of a person which you cannot measure in terms of numbers, right? So we can say gender is a qualitative variable, right? Apart from that, you can say nationality of a person, right? Then we can say that, for example, occupation of a person or the designation of a person, right? Then we can say marital status of a person. Then eye color, hair color. There can be any number of things which you can keep in the qualitative variable also, right? So these are some of the examples of qualitative variables. So again, if I say qualitative variables which you cannot measure in terms of numbers are known as qualitative variables, right? Similarly, coming down, talking about the quantitative variable, we can say quantitative variable which we can measure in terms of numbers or which we can quantify are known as quantitative variables. For example, if I can say the age of a person, right, height of a person, right, weight, income of a person, right, salary of a person. So these are some of the examples which we can say, as I think sir said. So according to the chemistry, maybe it is physics. So according to the variable which we are dealing with, according to its characteristics, we can decide upon whether this particular characteristics is measurable in terms of number, or you cannot measure it in terms of numbers. So that way you can classify those variables here, right? Coming to the next category, which is independent variables. So independent variable, I think we all have studied mathematics, right? At least till 10th standard, right? So we know this particular equation we all have studied. Anyone who can tell me which equation it is?
Regression equation, ma'am.
Okay, it is in terms of statistics. In terms of mathematics, what we call it?
Straight line equation.
Straight line equation. Very good. Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a straight line equation, right? So when we talk about statistics, generally we are adding one more term in statistics, and that way we can say it is a regression equation, right? But when we talk about mathematics, mathematics is confined to this only, right? Which is y equals to a plus bx. Maybe in statistics we can convert a into alpha, b into beta, right? So we can say y equals to alpha plus beta in x plus e or epsilon, depending which particular notation we are using, right? So this becomes a statistical equation when you are using this. In this, if I say, generally we know this thing y, which we the variable which we are keeping at the left hand side of the that square, we can of the equal, we can call it as a dependent variable, right? A is the intercept, b is the slope, and x is the dependent variable, and e known as the error term or the residual term, right? So here we can say independent variable is a variable which is independent, which can accept any value, and its value is not depending upon the dependent variable or any other variable. When we talk about dependent variable is a variable which can, or we can say the variable its value is depending upon the value of the independent variable. Means it is always depending upon the independent variable. So whatever the value independent variable is taking, accordingly the value of dependent variable will change, right? So that way you can say this is the relationship which we can understand simultaneously when we talk about the independent variable, right? So in the real world scenario, if we say this thing, the examples, right? So if I say the training hours and performance, right? So somewhere we can say this is these are the two variables which are generally showing us this type of relationship. So depending upon how many hours an employee has spent on his or her training, according to he or she is obtaining the performance rate. So that way we can clearly say which variable is independent, which variable is dependent. Similarly, in marketing field, if I will go and I'll say, so I can say a very common example I'm quoting here. Advertising and sales. So how much expenditure is put by the company in the advertisement, accordingly the sales is varying, right? So this is again an example of the independent and dependent variables, right? Moving ahead, talking about the discrete variable and continuous variable. So discrete and continuous variables are the part of this quantitative variable, right? We can say discrete variable is a variable generally which we can express in the form of whole number, right? So the variable which can be expressed in the form of whole numbers are known as discrete variables, right? Integer value generally these variables are taking. We can say like number of students in a class, right? Number of what I can say the doors or pairs, maybe doors or maybe chairs, anything you can, any object you can take, and accordingly you can say this is a discrete variable, because this is the variable which cannot be expressed in the form of decimal value. That is why we can call it as a discrete variable. Always these variables will come in the form of complete number, right? Then continuous variable means mathematics. If you are from the mathematics field, you know generally between two consecutive numbers, generally there are n number of numbers existing between the two consecutive numbers, right? Say for example, if I am saying 4 and 5, so between these two numbers, infinite numbers are existing. 4.1, 4.111, 4.2, 4.211, likewise, right? So that way you can say there are infinite numbers existing between these two. So if any variable is coming in this kind of range, we can call that variable as a continuous variable. Generally, these variables can be expressed in the form of decimal numbers. For example, here we have taken weight, height, the income, salary. These all can be expressed in the form of decimal, right? You can call them as a continuous variable, right? So this way, this is a broad classification of the types of variables, which every researcher or data analyst must know, because when you're deciding which statistical tool you're going to apply on your data, for that, this clarity is very important. You need to have, right? Because if you're clear on the type of the variables or data you're having, it can easily help you to decide which statistical tool you can apply on. So I hope till here I'm clear to everyone. Any doubt so far? Yeah, anyone? Any point you want to discuss, or if it is fine, may I go ahead?
Ma'am, please. Very nice explanation.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Now, uh, I think this all the variables which we have taken here, we know we can measure them very easily. If I say age, we know month, weeks, years, some way you can measure it. For measuring height, we are having the apparatus available. For weight, we are having the apparatus available. Income and salary are the variables which we know we can easily measure in terms of currency, right? But when we are talking about, suppose here I have written some of the qualitative variables. Suppose here if I'm talking about, I want to measure the attitude of a person. I want to measure the perception of a person, right? I want to measure how loyal my customers are, right? I want to measure their loyalty, honesty of my employees, etc. So when you talk about these kind of variables, these variables itself is indicating you cannot measure them directly, right? If I want to say, means generally in our day-to-day language, generally we are saying that person has attitude, or that person is very arrogant, or the perception, my perception is very negative towards a particular thing, or something like that. So that way you can, when you're expressing your thoughts, when you're saying this kind of variable, you are also knowing this thing. You cannot measure them in terms of any unit or something. So when we are dealing with such kind of variables in research, we need to know that how we can measure, because we want to perform some statistics on that, and statistics can only deal with numbers. So that is a very big limitation of the statistics, that it can only deal with the numbers, right? So that is why the variables which we are dealing with in the research field, we need to quantify them. As I think, again, I'll take the example of Yashwant sir. As he said, the molecule, he has given one example. Apart from that, there are certain more variables or more objects available which we can measure, or whose means the characteristics of them we can easily measure, right? So if we can decide that that particular characteristics can be measured in terms of number, it is quite clear it is a quantitative variable. But any, say for example, color of any particular thing, we want to measure, so we cannot measure it using any apparatus, right? Similarly, so that means likewise you need to decide upon which particular object you are dealing with in your research. Accordingly, which characteristics you are going to measure, or which feature you are going to measure of it. Accordingly, you need to decide upon whether it is quantifiable or non-quantifiable. That way you need to decide upon, if it is non-quantifiable, you need to decide upon how you can measure it, how you can quantify it, because without quantifying that particular thing, you cannot perform the statistical tool on that. That is a limitation, I think I already mentioned, right? So here, when I'm talking about which some of the variables I have listed here. So if I say attitude, perception, loyalty, beauty, anything, right? So these things we cannot measure directly. So in statistics or in research field, if I say, those who have already studied all these things, they know there is a term comes as measurement scales, right? So there are generally 4 measurement scales. I think I'm taking it on a next page. So it's nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio, right? So these 4 scales can generally help you to measure such kind of variables which you cannot quantify. Or when we means generally when I'm explaining measurement scales, I generally say the variable which we cannot measure directly. For measuring such variables, we are using the measurement scales. So the variables which cannot be measured directly, there is a technical term for that thing, that is known as latent variable. So latent variable meaning is what? The variable which you cannot measure directly, or hidden variable is known as latent variable. So to measure this variable, we can use certain types of scale. Some of the scales are nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. always the sequence of scales will be like this only, because every scale is possessing the characteristics of its previous scale, right? So that is why this will be the order. First scale, nominal scale, will help you for the characterization purpose. Sorry, not characterization, I must say categorization. So when you want to categorize your data only, right? So again, you need to have some base for categorization, right? For example, if I am saying I want to classify my respondents on the basis of their gender, I can say these number of the respondents are male, these number of the respondents are female. So the base is a variable which is known as categorical variable, which we can say the qualitative variable. So on the basis of that quality, I can only categorize my data, that these are the people, or these are the respondents who are the male, these are the participants who are the female. So that way you can only do the categorization when you're talking about the first scale, right? Moving ahead, talking about the ordinal scale. As I already mentioned, when you're talking about when you're progressing and talking about the other scales, every scale will possesses the characteristics of its previous scale. That means ordinal scale can help you to categorize. Apart from that, it can help you to rank orders, right? Say, for example, you have given, or you want to know how many of your respondents are liking. Suppose you have given 5 brands of maybe mobile, right? You want to ask them to rank these mobile on the basis of their preferences, right? So that way you can rank, means you want to categorize your respondent as how many of them are ranking for a particular brand as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can ordering also. Apart from categorization, there is a ordering also. It is known as ordinal scale. Next scale is that this is interval. This is having, means this can do the categorization for you. This can help you for the rank order also. And apart from that, means whatever categorization you have made, you can say this thing, there is an equal distance. So this particular scale is helping you for keeping the equal distance in the categories, right? For example, if suppose you are having certain number of cities and you want to classify those cities on the basis of their temperature, right? So suppose you have made a band like 21 to 25. So on the basis of the average temperature, you are classifying the cities, right? Then maybe 25.1 to 30. And likewise, you can make your different intervals, like, right? And then on the basis of the average temperatures, you can divide your cities. So that way you can see here categorization is possible. Rank order means these categories are on the basis of their temperature, as it is increasing or decreasing. That way you can arrange them in a particular order, increasing order or in a decreasing order, right? Similarly, you can find there is an equal distance, right? So that way maybe you can write it like this, that way you can say this is an equal distance in the categories. But the problem with the interval scale is that this scale is lacking with actual 0. So I think Yashwant sir will agree with me that when we, as I have taken the example of temperature, so we know this thing when we say temperature, there are 2 qualities of the temperature. That means how we can feel temperature. Generally, we are saying it is very cold, right? Or we are saying it's very hot. So that way, these are the 2 characteristics. Using that, we can understand or we can express about the temperature, right? So when we talk about, and I think we know we can measure the temperature in the form of Celsius, Fahrenheit, Kelvin, etc., right? So generally, when we say this 0-degree temperature, so 0-degree temperature is still at 0 degree. I think we can feel cold, right? So one of the characteristics is present at the 0. But so that way means when we are saying something is 0, that means whatever we want to measure, it is absent there. But when we are saying 0 degrees Celsius, one of the characteristics of temperature is still present there. That way we can say the interval scale is lacking with the actual 0. It is an arbitrary 0, right? So when the scientists have developed this scale, so arbitrary at a particular point, they kept that this is a 0 degree Celsius. On the basis of that, temperature scales were developed, right? So that way, this is a lacking of the interval scale. So to overcome this thing, we are having the last scale available, which is the ratio scale, which will be having characteristics like categorization, rank order, equal distance, and actual 0, right? So when I'm saying a person with the zero income, so means it is quite obvious the person who he is not having any source of the income, that's why his income or her income is zero. That is actual zero. This ratio scale is a scale which can help you to provide the basis of comparison, right? Right. If I'm saying my salary is suppose 10K and other person's salary is suppose 20K, so there is a we can clearly say there is a ratio 1:2. My salary is half of the other person's salary, or other person's salary is just double to myself, right? So this type of comparison, if you want to do, you can go for the ratio scale. Apart from that, there are mathematical operations we know. With the help of nominal and ordinal, you cannot do that. With the help of interval, you can do the plus and minus kind of thing. Means if you are having the interval scale data, you can go for the plus and minus kind of thing. If you are having the ratio scale data, you can perform all four major arithmetic operations: plus, minus, multiplication, and division, right? So this is about the theoretical background of the measurement scale. Okay, so I think now I'm taking and asking you people, it is clear to every one of you. Any doubt, you please ask. Yes, anyone?
Hi. So, if we take like in our lab classes, we tell our students to measure lengths using vernier calipers and so forth, right? So, what kind of measurement will it fall into? Any of these categories that you mentioned?
I think vernier calipers we are using for measuring the height and weight something.
Length, yeah.
Length, right. So length is a ratio scale variable, ma'am.
Ratios.
You can set the vernier calipers at 0.
Yes.
So it's a ratio scale variable. Means we can say what length is a ratio scale variable. Length, height, weight, all comes under the ratio.
So anything where the 0 is well defined is a ratio scale.
Ratio scale.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Anything else? Any other question? May I proceed?
Yeah, sure, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So till yet, I have explained you the meaning of variable. It's few types and the measurement skills. And I think as only one of you asked me one question related to the measurement skills, I'm assuming that it is clear to every one of you, right? If it is clear, now I'll talk about the applications of SPSS, right? Anyone who can tell me some of the statistical test names? Anyone? Some of the names, anyone who can take? Yes? Anyone? I hope you are listening. Yes? Friends, I hope you are listening.
T-test, ANOVA, chi-square test.
Good.
The non-parametric includes Wilcoxon sign rank test.
Very good. Very good. May I know the name who is talking to me?
I am Dr. Brajesh.
Brajesh sir. Thank you so much, Brajesh sir. Yes. Sir said very rightly. So if I talk about a statistical test, I think I'll talk about firstly, when we need to perform some of the statistical tests, firstly, we need to go for the data preparations, right? Cleaning and all we need to do. Cleaning, transformation, right? Then we need to talk about the data. What I can say in data cleaning is I'm taking from the data cleaning. Generally, you need to find the missing values, right? You need to check the outliers, right? And in the transformation, what we are doing, we are computing a new variable, right? Or we are we can say we can do the recoding. Transformation means we can do the recoding of existing variable. So these are the very initial processes which we are performing on the data. So all these are possible using the SPSS, right? Then talking about the, after this, generally if you go for the visualization, anyone who can throw some light on visualization, what do you mean or understand by term visualization? Anyone? Data visualization, anyone who can say something?
Again, converting it into tables or graphical forms.
Yes, means when we are representing our data using the charts and graphs, we can call it as a data visualization, right? So in SPSS, not what I can say very advanced kind of graphics or charts and graphs you can make, but the permis, if you go for the, if you are doing a research and something, for that purpose, that sufficient, what I can say, facilities available in SPSS. Using that, you can go for the making of the charts and graphs. So again, when we are talking about the charts and graphs, we need to know this thing, that according to the type of data, we need to decide upon this particular graph or chart is appropriate, right, to draw. So accordingly, you need to have that clarity, and that way you can depict your data, or you can visualize your data using the charts and graph available in SPSS, right? Coming to next, we can say then we will go for the analysis. So as sir said, Rajit sir has pointed out some of the statistical test names, like, so we can generally classify those tests in the parametric and non-parametric test category, right? So when we say parametric, under parametric, there can be T, ANOVA, generally correlation, etc. we can keep, right? Then in the non-parametric, we can keep chi-square, yes. We can keep Mann-Whitney test. We can keep Kruskal-Wallis test. We can keep Wilcoxon, Signed-Rank test. We can keep Spearman's rank correlation. And then ANOVA repeated measures. So there are various tests which are available in the parametric and non-parametric test category. Usually for each and every parametric test, we are having the substitute available in the non-parametric test category, right? Then comes, suppose, as we said, we are talking about the social sciences, right? So there are multiple domains, right? As I said, I am from the management side. In the management, generally we are dealing with the finance, marketing, HR. Mainly these are the major domains. Apart from that, IT is there, then data analytics is there. Now the data analytics is also the part of, generally we are offering as a specialist in the management field, right? Apart from that, we can say psychology is one other discipline. Then we can say political science, then health sector, right? So likewise, there are various domains or what I can say disciplines available under the social sciences. So for each and every domain, if I talk about, generally we are starting with the data cleaning. So in all the field, whatever type of data we are having, whether we are having data from the finance side, marketing, HR, or maybe in the psychology, suppose I'm talking about the burnout and all. So accordingly, you need to see, maybe I'm talking about any kind of, what I can say, trauma and all. Similarly, in the political science, health sector, if I'm talking about, I want to do the study of the customer behavior, patient behavior and something like that. So firstly, whatever data you are having, you can go for the data cleaning. So in the data cleaning, what you need to do, I think some of the things I have mentioned here. In the training, you need to check the missing values, you need to check the outliers. So you need to prepare your data firstly, right? So everything is possible using the SPSS, right? So again, data can be from the any of the mentioned discipline, right? You can perform data cleaning. Then you can go for the descriptive statistics. So anyone who can tell me what do you understand by term descriptive statistics? Anyone?
The statistics which basically gives explains the data. So basically in terms of what is the central values and how distributed the data is, how much is the variance. So basically the central tendency and the dispersion.
Very good. So may I know the name?
Again, I'm Dr. Brijesh.
Sorry. Thank you so much, sir. Sir has said very correctly, when we are interested to summarize our data, right? When we want to describe our data. So for summarization and describing of data, we are performing descriptive statistics, because generally we are having, suppose I am having 100 observations, or I am having 100 respondents data available with me. So looking at a particular characteristics, particular variable, because generally we are collecting the data, suppose we are asking 10-20 questions from a particular person. So we will be having, for a particular variable, we will be having 100 observations or 100 data points available. Looking at those 100 data points, we cannot comment anything on that particular variable. So for the purpose, we or generally statistics suggests us go for the summarization and go for its describing. So there are various methods available. Some of them sir has already taken the name, known as measures of central tendency, right? Then measures of dispersion. Then comes measures of distribution, right? So using these mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, skewness, and kurtosis, all these are the various measures which you can perform on your data, and it will give you some clarity what type of data you are having. So if you are having that knowledge, accordingly you can decide upon whether you will go for the parametric test or whether you will go for the non-parametric test, right? SPSS supports both parametric and non-parametric tests, right? Then next comes, you will go for now inferential statistics. So may I expect anyone who can tell me? Anyone who can comment on inferential statistics? I think hypothesis testing everyone has heard about. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So when we want to infer the population parameters using sample statistic, we are talking about inferential statistics, or in a simple word we can say we are talking about hypothesis testing, because generally using a sample we want to do various kinds of analysis, or we are testing various kind of hypothesis, and we are generally generalizing our what I can say results. Suppose we are saying there is no significant difference in the perception of male and female towards any political party, suppose, right? So that we will do using the data of suppose 100, 150, 200 people. But after testing our hypothesis, we will generalize these things, that there is a significant difference or maybe there is no significant difference. So that way we can say generally we are talking about using the sample, we are talking about the population. So this type of thing we can do using the inferential statistics. There are multiple tests, I think already we have mentioned here. Tools like these all are the tools of we are using for the inferential statistics, that is for the hypothesis test. All these are generally known as the basic kind of statistics that you can perform using the SPSS. Now, when I talk about advanced statistical test, so in case of advanced statistical test, there is like factor analysis. There are two types, EFA and CFA, right? Then we are talking about, suppose, survival analysis. Then we are talking about cluster analysis, discriminant analysis. Then we are talking about, just a minute, all these factor, cluster, discriminant, these all are the tools which we are generally using in the marketing side. If you want to segment your customers, you want to know the what type of the characteristics they are possessing, you are using such kind of techniques, and that way you can what I can say, you can offer your products or services in that manner. You can make your strategies, right? So this is few. Apart from that, there is a RFM analysis. I hope you have heard about. RFM analysis is generally the recency, frequency, and monetary value, right? Then there is SEM, right? But for SEM, we need to use MOS. That is SPS, IBM SPS is MOS available, right? That is structural equation modeling, moderation, mediation, all type of things you can do using this. So this is some of more advanced statistical tests which I have mentioned here, right? So this is all you can perform using SPSS. So when we talk about Excel, we can say SPSS has a leverage because we can perform advanced statistical tests using the SPSS, which we cannot perform in Excel. Excel is confined till regression. Apart from that, I talk about one sample t-test, chi-square test. These all you cannot perform using that even add-ins also, right? You can use functions to perform or to get the output of these kind of tests. So this is some of the tests which I have mentioned here, which you can perform using the SPSS. Apart from that, if you want to go for the time series analysis, right? So for time series analysis, generally they're going for the trend analysis and all. That is also possible using the SPSS, right? So I hope till here I'm clear to everyone. All these you can use in the health sector also, in the education sector also, in the finance, marketing, HR, or maybe in the psychology. So in all these sectors, in all these fields, you can perform these kind of tests. I hope I'm clear till this. May I now take you to the interface of SPSS, if it is clear, or any query if you are having, you can please ask. Yes. Friends, tell me, may I proceed for the next?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Fine. So in that case, now I am switching from this Word file to the SPSS window, right? So I think I need to, you need to confirm me whether SPSS window is visible to you people or not. I think I have just shared my screen for SPSS. Interface is visible to you?
No, ma'am.
Not. Okay. So I'm stop sharing and I'll share again. Give me a second. Fine. So I'm sharing my screen again. I'm expecting you to please confirm me whether my SPSS interface is visible to you or not. So I am showing you one grid kind of format interface. I hope it is visible to every one of you.
Yes, ma'am. It is
Yes.
visible.
Yes. So friends, here I'll firstly explain you this interface, what this interface is all about, and then we'll see how it works, right? So firstly, I need to tell you, I don't think so I need to tell you this. I think it is quite visible to every one of us. The interface is very similar to the Excel, right? But there is a difference in Excel and SPSS. In Excel, generally we are opening a workbook, and in a workbook we can add multiple worksheets according to our need, right? Whereas when you talk about SPSS, in SPSS you can see here we are having at the bottom left, if you will see, we are having the two views available, titled as or named as data view and the variable view, right? If you will look at the color of both is little different. Reason is what? Reason is we have firstly selected the variable view. So the color of this button will be maybe orange and yellow, you can see, like, right? So this is the variable view. Meaning is what? If you are bringing some data in SPSS, means suppose if you are importing the data from Excel, from CSV, or from any other source, in that case, the whatever variables are contained by that file, everything will be copied here. And when you that will be copied, it will be divided on the basis of these things, right? So these are some of the characteristics of the variable. So suppose you have defined a variable, or if you are having a variable in your Excel, right? So suppose the variable is named as gender. So if you are bringing that variable here in the SPSS file, so if suppose it is written it like this, right? So it will come like this. Along with this, it will be having certain more characteristics like type of its variable, type of the variable, width, decimal points. Then label is not there because we need to means this is the field where you need to give the label to your variable, right? Values will not be defined by the SPSS automatically. This you need to do. Missing section also you need to deal with. Remaining field you can see it is generally filled. So some of whenever you are writing the name of variable or you are bringing the data in SPSS, it is or it itself is giving some of the characteristics or defining some of the characteristics by its own. Is it clear to everyone? Friends, it is clear, I hope. Right. Once you are having, suppose you're not importing any data, and if you are entering or you're creating your own variables, as you have seen, I have typed this variable here, right? So once you are creating any variable in SPSS variable view, you can come in the data view. It will showing you. It is showing you now. You can see it is showing you the name of the variable, right? So this is indicating whatever variable you will create in the variable view, it will be becoming the column heading in the data view, right? That means this particular column will store the data of the gender of a person, right? So data view will contain your data. Variable view is a facility which is helping you to define your variable. I hope the difference is clear of the data view and variable view. Okay, I think I'm assuming yes. Fine. So if it is clear, moving ahead, talking about, so this particular means this whole interface is known as data editor. So data editor is having two views, data view and variable view. Variable view is a facility where you can define your variable manually. If not, if you are bringing the data using any source in SPSS, so SPSS automatically fetch the name from that particular source and will put in the variable view under the name head, and some of the characteristics or features will already be defined by the SPSS. And whatever data is there stored in that particular location or source, that will be fetched or imported here in this particular data view. Then after importing and all, you can see some of the menus or the tabs like file. So these are the very common, like I think we all generally using Excel and Word document on day-to-day life, right? So I don't think so I need to much emphasize on the tab or the menu like file, edit. So these all are having almost similar things which we are doing in the other softwares or in the other platforms, right? Main thing is here, you can see the transform. This step is providing you to transform your data. If you want to create a new variable, there is an option available, compute value. If you want to recode your data, means already you are having a data which is coded, but suppose for some reason you want to code it again. So that type of coding is possible in SPSS. You can recode your data, means coded data you are having. If you wish to recode it, that you can do in the SPSS. So there are two options available that you can do, right? Then if you are talking about the rank cases and date time wizard, replacing missing values and all, these all are the facilities available under the transform. Means transformation means if you want to transform the data which you are available to you, so all the related options are available under the transform menu, right? After system After transforming, similarly, you can see data view. So shorting, short variable, short cases, transpose if you want to do so. So these are the things which you can do using the data view. I think as I am not talking about much about the statistical test because in 1.5 hour it is not possible, but weighing of the cases is also possible. Means if you want to weight cases, that also you can do under the data tab. So this is the important characteristics available under the data tab. Then if you want to go for the visualizations, you can see here there is a particular head available under the graph named as chart builder. I think once you will open, it will not do because we are not having any data. So firstly, I'll tell you few of the variables we are taking here, right? Suppose I'm taking the income now, next variable. Next, I'm taking the age, right? Some of the, what I can say, hurdles when we are talking about the name or giving the name to a variable are there. Generally, when you are starting the name of the variable in the SPSS, you cannot use number, you cannot use special characters except at the rate, right? Means if suppose I'm writing one age, I think here it will not work. I'll come here. Suppose I'm writing one age. Once I'll do this, and I'm pressing the tab key or maybe enter key. So you can see SPSS is throwing some error message to me. Variable name contains an illegal first character, right? So that means this is a restriction. You cannot start the name of the variable using the number, right? At the end, in between of the alphabets, if you wish to keep, you can do so, right? Then if I'm using hashtag age, not possible, right? It is not available, not allowed. Dollar age, not allowed. Similarly, percentage extra you can check. But if you're using at the rate age, it is allowed. So only at the rate is allowed here, keeping at the initial, and that way you can define the name of your variables. Similarly, there is one restriction. If I want to write age of participant, that I cannot do, right? Because spacing is not possible. If I want to keep a space between the two words while defining the name of the variable, it is not allowed. But if you wish to do so, you can use underscore sign or maybe period. Period means dot. This is allowed. You can see age and period. Both I have taken simultaneously, but to look at what I can say good, you can use either underscore or either period. Up to you. So that way we can do so. But I'm deleting this because it is just a replica of the previous one. So I can clear this. So this way you can see by default SPSS is taking every variable as a numeric variable, right? Suppose I'm taking a variable name. Again, it is taking numeric. We know it cannot be the numeric. If I want to change its type, I can click on these three dots and it is showing me the range of the types available for a variable, numeric, comma, dot, etc. So here name can be a string variable, right? So I can keep string and I can click on OK. So it is like that. So you can see automatically decimal has become 0 here because it is a string variable and there is no role of 0 in that decimal point in that case. So that is why that decimal is coming as 0. But for numeric, it is by default taking up to 2 decimal points, you can define it. But if suppose I'm coming here, I think once I'll suppose entering 2, 1, 2. Right? So I think decimal is not that much what I can say required here. So I'm making it 0, right? Because for gender, it is okay. I'll go with this, right? Similarly, you can put, as I think in the upcoming, what I can say features, I'll talk about the missing value. So I'm showing you, as you can see, some of the codings I have entered here, 2112 something something. So you can find in for the other variables, there are dots or periods you can see in on my screen, right? So what is the meaning? These are the missing values. So in SPSS, there are two types of missing values, system defined and user defined. So these are the system defined because we have not entered the data. So this is system defined missing value. So data, if the data is not available, it is treated as a system defined missing value, right? If suppose I'm entering the maybe what I can say income now, right? Suppose I'm entering like this. Maybe it is in what I can say 1000 or something. Is it till here? I'm clear, I hope.
Ma'am.
Friends? Yeah. So I entered few of the data points here so that it is clearly showing me the that way you can see now this is this periods or dots are replaced. Similarly, age also we can enter, name also we can enter, right? Coming here in the variable view. So I think till decimal points I'm clear. Width is nothing but it is indicating the width of that particular cell, right? So generally it is applicable for the string variable. Usually for a numeric variable there is no use still until that variable is a discrete variable. And then I think I already explained you the meaning of discrete. So gender is the discrete variable because we have made its decimal point as 0. But income and age, I have not made its decimal point as 0. So these are the continuous variable for me, right? Or the numeric variable for me. In that case, you can call it as that there is a meaning of means again I'm repeating, in case of a string variable and in case of continuous variable, there is a meaning of this width section. For the discrete variable, there is no meaning of the width section, right? Decimal points I already explained to you. Label meaning is that if as we have seen some of the what I can say the limitations of defining the name of the variable, here we can use this label section to properly name your variable, right? Say for example, I have written here gender of students, right? Similarly, name of the student, income of, or maybe annual income, monthly income, anything if I want to write, that I can do. So that way you can see this, there is no problem in using this particular thing, right? So label is allowing you freely to describe your variable, and generally it is suggested we should always go for defining or describing the variable, because if you are using the same sheet for multiple times, so there will be certain gap in using that particular sheet. So usually we forgot what is exactly the meaning of that variable. So this label will help you to recall what that variable exactly was, right? That way you can use this label section to describe your variable. Values is generally we are using for defining the codings, right? So coding, suppose as I have given 1 and 2, right? So meaning of 1 and 2 is what? So suppose I'm coming, I have clicked on the 3 dots. In the value, I have typed 1. In the label, I have typed male, adding it. 2, female. This is only for our understanding, right? And click on OK. So this way, now in the future, if you're using the sheet, you will be in a position to understand 1 was for the male, 2 was for the female, right? So you can define your codings under this values option. So this value label will help you to do so. Then I'll come in the data view, and you can see here there is one icon 1 and A, right? Once I'll click on this, so if any of the codings are there, you can see. Now you can see female, male, female, 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 male, male, female, like, right? So once again, I'll click on this, it will be converted into the codes. So it can show you, right? Is it clear? Till values and clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Coming to the, thank you everyone. So coming to the missings, I already told you one type of missing in SPSS. This is system defined missing value, means the data which is not available to SPSS is known as system defined missing value. In the variable view, this missing value is the user defined missing value, right? Meaning is what? We are using this software for our purpose, right? So if we wish to keep something missing from our data, or rather than deleting it, we can use this option, right? Say for example, in the income or maybe in the age, right? Suppose I'm typing some of the ages here. Right, some of the ages I have mentioned here. Now, I think, okay, fine. Now, in the missing value section, I am coming and going in this age. Clicking on these 3 dots, you can see one dialog box is appearing in front of us, right? It is giving you 3 options. By default, no missing value. Means SPSS is not taking anything as a missing value by default. But if we deliberately want SPSS to miss something, we can use these next 2 options. The first one among them is, or between them is, discrete missing values. So it is allowing you to keep 3 values as missing from your data, right? Say for example, as I think just a minute, I'll come my data view below 20 or below 30, suppose 27, 24 and 22 times. So 27 and 24 I have seen, right? So I'm coming again, clicking on this. Now I'm writing here using this option. I'm typing here 24 and 27. So the meaning is what? The respondents who are having the age 24 and 27, they will not be included in any analysis if I will use age as any of the variables in the analysis. Is it clear? Means rather than deleting, we are defining here. So SPSS will get an understanding that the persons who are having the age 24 and 27, those person data should not be included for the analysis. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So this is a discrete. So maximum 3 values you can define. Not necessarily all 3. You need to define up to you 1, 2, or all 3 you need to define. Second option is range plus 1 optional discrete missing value. So range is, I think, very clear to us. So suppose I am mentioning here the suppose I have say for I have mentioned 18 to 14 to 29, means any person who is between the age from 14 to 29, those persons data should not be included in my analysis, right? And if suppose I found there is a person whose age is suppose maybe 12 years, right? So that is a discrete value, but it is optional. You can read it. It's optional discrete, not necessary to fill this box, right? Only range you can define. So that way it will give an understanding to SPSS that these particular range data should not be included in the analysis if you are picking the age variable for the analysis. Okay, I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Now, coming to the next 2, taking simultaneously columns and alignment. Columns meaning is it is only showing you the number of characters me display. This is for the displaying. Suppose I'm coming here in the data view and I'm stretching. You can see I'm stretching my age column, right? And I can see its reflection here. So now size is 13. So at a time around 13 characters you can see, right? Generally, this is we are doing for the name, address kind of variables, right? Coming to the alignment, every one of us is knowing there are generally 3 alignment, left, right, and center. Like Excel, all the variables which are the numeric, right? They will be right aligned. All the variables which are the what I can say string variables, these will be left aligned. So Excel is also following the same. But if you wish to change according to your convenience, you can do. It is not like whatever is defined by the SPSS that will be so. So as like like Excel, whatever the alignment you want to do for your data, you can do. Last and important one is the measurement scales, right? As we have discussed, there are 4 scales: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So what SPSS does, SPSS is showing only the 3, nominal, ordinal, right? And remaining 2 will be coming under the scale section, right? So if your variable is interval scale or ratio scale, you will always select its type as the scale, right? So this way, according to on what scale you have measured the variable, you can decide its measurement scale, right? So after doing all this, you will be in a position, come to the data view, you can see whatever variable you have defined, they all are coming here, right? So this is a manual way of defining the variable and entering the data. Now, if you wish to import the data in SPSS, that also possible for you to do. So I'll explain you now importing of the data. For importing of the data, we need to go to the file tab, right? There you can go to the open and you will click on the data. Once you are clicking on this data, it is landing you on the open data dialog box, right? Here, under the looking section, you need to select the location from where you want to pick the file, right? So you can select that location. Suppose my file is available in a download section only, right? So I'll go with this. If your file is at some other location, from clicking on this drop down, you can select the location, right? Then next is you need to decide upon which kind of file you want to bring in the SPSS, right? So there are files of type. I'll click on this. By default, it is showing me the SPSS file. Means this will be the extension of your file. But if I wish to bring Excel file, I'll click on the drop down. I'll select its type. So now all the files which are related to or whose extensions are .xls, .xlsx, .xlsm. All these extensions files will be available now on this particular location, will be visible to you. So suppose I have selected one file because recently I am working on this data. So I selected this file, suppose. Now I'll click on the open. Once you are click, okay, it's already open. Just a minute. So I need to open some other. Fine. Oof, sorry. I'll go to the open. I'll click on the data. Now suppose I'm first selecting Excel. Then I'm typing MRP data. Suppose I have opened one Excel file named as MRP file.xlsx. Now clicking on open. It will show me the preview of my data. You can find here, this is the preview of my data, right? And if you are okay with the preview, you can click on the OK. One more thing you need to see when you're talking about the Excel file, as I already said, in Excel file, there can be multiple worksheets, right? So you can click on the drop down. If your file is having the multiple worksheet, it will show you according to your need. You can select that particular worksheet. So at a time, only one worksheet you can open in the interface, right? And once you are okay with this, you will click on the OK. And that way, in few seconds, the output will be generated for you. So the preview is now here. So that way you can see, this is a way of importing the data in SPSS, right? This is a one way. Is it clear to everyone? I hope simple.
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah. Second one is, just a minute. Second way is this. You can click on this open data dialog icon. This icon is visible, folder icon. You can click on this. Again, it will land you on the open data. From the lookin, you can select the location and you can select the type of the file and select that. Click on open. It will show you the preview. You can click on OK, and that way the data will be in your SPSS interface, right? This is the second way. Third way, you can click on the file. You can go to directly on the import data. So this is a facility which is directly showing you which kind of file you want to pick, right? So these are the supported sources through which you can bring data in SPSS. So according to your need, you can select. Suppose I am selecting Excel. Same dialog box will come. Only the difference is that this time files of type will be Excel, right? So again, set the location, select the file, click on open, and see the preview and click on OK to bring the data in SPSS. I hope importing is simple and clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Now, if I want to go for the visualization, I'll go in a graphs. I'll click on this. I'll click on chart builder. Okay. Done. So now it is showing me the chart builder. You can see it is a chart builder. Now all the supported charts are listed at the bottom left. You can see the names, right? Now I want to see my monthly income distribution, suppose, right? Suppose I want to draw a histogram. So I'll select this histogram. All the available options will be showing me in the right pane. And from this pen, I need to select which kind of histogram I want to make. So I'll select the very simple one. So after selecting this, either you can double click on this. That way it will be coming in a preview section, or you can simple drag and drop it also. So up to you which way is very comfortable for you. And then I'm picking my variable monthly income on the x-axis. I'll drop it and I'll click on the OK. Just a minute. I hope it is visible, right? Friends, fine. May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Once you are clicking on OK, now you can see I am on one new window. This window is known as the output viewer. So this will contain your output. Whatever you have performed in SPSS, it is showing you its output. So now you can see this is the histogram which we can see here, right? So that way, this is a way of creating the graphs in the SPSS. If I want to put, because we know this thing when I talk about the histogram is a chart which can help us to understand the distribution of the data, right? And for the distribution, we know generally we are bothering about the normal distribution of the data. So that study we can do using the histogram, right? So SPSS is providing you a facility using that you can keep a bell-shaped curve, because we know normal distribution curve is very famous with the bell-shaped curve, right? If I want to put a bell-shaped curve on this, I can do so. How? I need to only double click on this, then chart editor window will open. From this window, you can see the second ribbon. From this ribbon, I'm selecting the second last option, which is show distribution curve. Once I click on this, the properties option will open. Here there are various kind of graphs which you can, or the curve which you can put on your graph. For the histogram, best suited is the normal by default, which is selected. So I think I'll click on the close. I'll click on the close here also, and you can see in the output viewer on a histogram, you can see now we are having the bell-shaped curve on it. So bell-shaped curve can help you to understand the distribution of your data. This is one way of understanding the distribution of the data, whether your data is normal distributed or not. There are certain other methods also, right? So this is the visualization which we can perform using the SPSS. I hope it is simple. May I go for the next thing? Friends?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Now I'll talk about to performing of the descriptive statistics, right? So to perform descriptive statistics, you need to go on the Analyze tab. Analyze tab is a tab which is containing every kind of a statistical test which you can perform in the SPSS, right? Now, using this, I'll go to the second option, descriptive statistics. There are again various things available. If you only want to see the distribution of the frequencies, you will go for the frequencies. But I want to perform some more things. I'll go in the descriptives. I'll click on this. I'll shift my income. I think, yes, gender. Okay, I'm taking the income variable here, shifting it into the variables box. Clicking on the options button, you can see few of the options are by default selected, like mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum. But if you wish to see some more, suppose I want to see the kurtosis also, I want to see the skewness also, I want to see the variance also, suppose, right? That's all. I want to see these three more things. So I'll click on continue now, and then I'll click on OK. So in the few seconds, you can see we are having the descriptive statistics for the income variable available. It is showing me we are having total 11 persons income data available. Minimum income is 34,000. Maximum is 90,000. Mean income value is 63.1818. The standard deviation of the income is 21.29. Variance of the income is 453.364. Skewness value is minus 0.400, and the kurtosis value is minus 1.631. So these last two, skewness and kurtosis, are the two measures which can help you to understand the normality of your data. Generally, for the perfect normal distribution, so please pay attention on my words. I said for the perfect normal distribution, skewness is 0 and kurtosis is 3. So your what I can say, the threshold values are 0 and 3. So from these two values you can compare. So you can check. If I talk about skewness, it is minus 0.400, which is negative, means it is below 0. So we can somewhere comment our data is negatively skewed, right? Kurtosis is again negative, minus 1.633. So again less than 3, but again minus value. That means it is a negative kurtosis. So for negative kurtosis, the technical term is platykurtic. So we can say our data is platykurtic, right? So platykurtic meaning is this bell-shaped curve will be little flatter. It is not an exact perfect normal distribution curve. It will be a flatter curve, right? So that way, using these two figures, we can comment on the normality of our variable. So descriptive statistics can help you to understand the nature of your data, and that way you can decide upon further. If your data is normally distributed, you'll go for the parametric test. If data is not normally distributed, you'll go for the non-parametric test, right? So this way you can perform descriptive statistics. Now I'll tell you one more thing. Go to the analyze. Descriptive statistics. This time I'm taking third option, which is explore. Shifting the income variable only here in the dependent list, going in the options, no, going in the plots. I need to select histogram. I'll deselect this stem and leaf and I'll select the normal t-plots with the test. Click on continue, click on OK. It will give you range of graphs along with range of descriptive statistics. You can see here in this first option, we are getting very limited, but here you can see we are getting the mean, median, variance, standard deviation, minimum, maximum range, interquartile range, skewness, and kurtosis for the monthly income, right? Apart from this, there is the beauty of this option is this. If you are unable to understand normality of your variable using this descriptive statistics, what you can do, you can use these tests of normality to comment on the normality of your variable. So as data is very small here, for us only 11 observations I am having, I'm using the Shapiro-Wilks test here. Shapiro-Wilks test significant value. So those who are doing analysis using softwares, any software, they are knowing we are getting generally the p value or significant value using the software. So this value is 0.076. So generally we can compare this value from the 5%. Generally this is known as level of significance, right? So from 5%, if you will compare it, it is greater than 5% because 5% meaning is 0.05. So this is 0.07, which is greater than. So we can say in this case, we need to hold the null hypothesis, right? So I think I need to tell you here, because whenever the p-value we are getting, we need to have always a hypothesis here. So for Shapiro-Wilks test, the hypothesis is variable is normally distributed. So according to our significant value, we can say we need to hold the null hypothesis. So that way we can say that the income is normally distributed variable, right? Further histogram same, which we have already plotted. And then we are getting one more plot, which is known as QQ plot, quantile plot. This is also helping you to comment on the normality. Generally, all the observations which you can see here, they should follow this solid line. If they are following, you can say variable is normally distributed. But here we can see there is a deviation. That means it is saying there is a problem with the normality, right? But there is a contradiction. This test is saying there is a normality, but this is saying there is not a normality in the variable. So reason can be the sample size is very small. So that is why it is little difficult to comment, right? And again, one thing, when we are not much good in the what I can say commenting on the normality using the graphical representation, generally it is suggested to go for the method like Shapiro-Wilks test and skewness and kurtosis. This generally we are not reporting. And lastly, this is an important graph which we are getting known as box plot. Box plot generally we are using to comment on the outliers part. So you can see this portion, this is known as upper whisker. This portion is known as lower whisker. So if beyond this, if they are getting certain data points, so if there will be any data points which is coming beyond these two, you will always say this thing that there is outlier available in the data. But in our case, we cannot get any circle or anything. That means we are not having any outlier in this data, right? So that way, using the box plot, we can comment on the outliers. Now, in a hurry, I'll show you the test. You can see, go to the analyze. I'm coming in a compare means. Now you can find one sample t-test, independent samples t-test, paired t-test, one whenever. All these possible to perform using this compare means option, right? In the general linear model, if you will go using this univariate, you can perform two-way ANOVA. Similarly, come down, this is the portion which can help you to perform correlation. This is regression, right? If you're talking about the neural networks and all, suppose you want to go for the marketing or the HR analysis. In the HR analysis, generally we are using this neural networks and all. In that case, you can go here. To perform the marketing tools like cluster analysis and all, you can come in this particular section. Cluster analysis you can perform here. You can perform the discriminant analysis and nearest neighbor. This is a method which you can perform using the classify option. If you want to perform the factor analysis, you can come under the dimensional reductions, and using this factor option, you can do this. If you want to check the reliability of your scale, you can come under this scale. If you want to perform non-parametric test, you can come under this non-parametric section. You can select that. For the forecasting, you can choose these options. For survival analysis, you can apply these methods according to your variable type. You can decide upon. right? If you are having multiple responses, means if you are asking the respondents to check or select more than one option, in that case you can come here to analyze the such kind of data. If you want to treat missing value, you can come in the missing value section. That way you can see there are multiple tests which we can perform using the SPSS. So SPSS is providing you the range of the test. According to that, according to your need, you can perform them. Apart from that, there are certain more services available of SPSS, like SPSS modeler is available for modeling and validating the modeling, for performing CFA and SEM kind of thing, that is confirmatory factor analysis and this structured equation modeling. You can go for the MOS also. So these are the some advanced, what I can say, extension of the SPSS which are available. But at the conclusion, I'll say this thing. When I talk about SPSS, SPSS is a little costly software, right? If you will go on IBM SPSS website, because it is a product of IBM. So when you are typing IBM SPSS, you will be landed on the particular web page. From there, you can download the software, but it is not freely available. Only for a 1 month period, as IBM is providing you this software free to use, right? After 1 month, you cannot use the software. So this is a limitation of SPSS. You need to buy it. If not, you can procure it from any of the institutions which are having the licensed version of it, and that way you can use it, right? So I think, friends, this is all from my side for this session. Now the platform is open for questions and answers. If you're having any, you can please ask.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes,
See,
ma'am.
in the example, you are fitting like a normal distribution, right? Where it is clear it's a bimodal distribution, right? That would have been a better fit. So, was there a reason for it? Why?
I think, ma'am, this was the demo only. I'm
Okay,
just
okay,
showing you how to perform all these things, right? And I think we
okay.
are having a very small data, 11% data we are
Yes,
having.
exactly.
So I'm just only giving the demo to you people.
Acha,
But
acha.
it is, I think, if you're a statistician, you are having that clarity. So that way we can, I think, using the histogram or looking at
Yeah.
the frequency, we can also comment on this.
Okay, okay. Oh, yeah. I was just wondering about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. But I think it is nice if we are communicating to each other. That way it is adding to our knowledge and to others also. Yes. Anything else? Okay. No other questions? Fine. Okay, Neha ma'am, I think over to you. We are done for the day. It is all from my side. If no queries.
ఆపర్చునిటీ ఎదురుగా 9 సాదా 2 బోండా 140 రూపాయలు మామూలు బిల్లు చెప్తే సాదాగా ఏంది 2 సాదా 30 రూపాయలు.
I think one query I can see asked by Fatima ma'am. Fatima ma'am, are you there? Fatima ma'am, are you there in the meeting?
5 రూపాయలు ఉంది, 3 రూపాయలు 2 రూపాయలు డిపి వాళ్ళ తమ్ముడే కదా ఆపోజిట్ ఎదురుగా 2 ఉన్నాయి. ఈ పక్క ఇంకోటి ఉంది. ఏ పక్క ఏ పక్క
Fatima ma'am, are you there in the meeting?
వాళ్ళు కాదు, వాళ్ళ ఆపం వేరు.
Yes, ma'am.
ఆపం వేరు.
Okay, Fatima, you are asking for the outlier, right? Outlier is what? Outlier, Lakshmi. Lakshmi Kant, can you mute yourself?
ఈ పక్కన కావాల్సింది ఈ పక్క వాడమ్మందంగా వాళ్ళ కారంగా కన్నులాగా వాడు ఒకప్పుడు 14 ఇడ్లీ వేస్తాడు. ఇప్పుడు
Lakshmi Kant sir, so that I can answer Fatima ma'am's question.
ఇప్పుడు కాదు, స్టార్టింగ్ మేము తిన్నాము 14 ఇడ్లీ 14 వడ దోశ.
Okay, fine. Fatima, I'm trying to speak if you can understand, right?
తెలుసు.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, according. So Fatima, you are asking about the outlier. Outlier is nothing but these are the distinct values, right? Distinct meaning is what, which is very different value from the preliminary data points in your variable, right? So for example, we have taken income, right? In income, suppose we are generally getting income of people like 20,000, 4,000, 25,000, 30,000, 30,000, but suddenly you are getting one number which is suppose coming in 75,000. It is very, very different from remaining data point. It is known as outlier. It can be at any tail, at upper tail or at lower tail. That is known as outlier. And if outliers are present in your data, it will definitely be for analysis. I hope you are getting me. Fatima,
Yes, ma'am.
Fatima ma'am, it is
I
fine.
got it.
Okay, thank you. So over to you, Neha ma'am. I think we are done. No other query.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As we come to the conclusion of this insightful session, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Chansala ma'am. It is truly an honor to learn from such a highly intellectual and esteemed expert on the prestigious platform of Research Foundation of India. And we also extend our sincere appreciation to our participants for your enthusiastic and active involvement throughout the session. Our deepest thanks to the organizing committee and sponsors for their invaluable support. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Neha ma'am. Thank you, everyone. All the best for your research journey. Hope to meet you in some other sessions. Thank you. Okay, so Neha ma'am, I hope I can leave.